Yo, what's up guys, Aiden here. So today in this video, I would like to share with you how I lost $600 trading stocks. So over the course of the last few days, I've traded 5 different tickers and I've been shaken out either from not setting my risk level correctly or not sticking to my plan. And I've consequently had to go on to watch those tickers make absolutely explosive moves without me, anywhere from a 200% move to a 65% move. So clearly there's something I need to adjust and learn in regards to managing the trade and managing my risk. Let's jump straight into some charts and I'll show you exactly what's gone on. All right, cool guys. So 5 different tickers for us to go over. So I'm going to go over probably quite quickly and speak sort of faster than I normally would. So any questions, pop it in the comments below and I'll try and get back to you. So the first ticker I'd like to go over is NA. But before I do that, I should probably say that I'm actually feeling pretty chilled. I know I've been shaken out of 5 different tickers and I know that is part and parcel of trading, but when I am getting shaken out as much as that, there is something there for me to learn in terms of like risk management and emotional management as well. So the first one to go over is NA. So let's start by the daily chart. Now I liked this for a number of reasons. One is that it's obviously just on a recent reverse splits, the float is lower and we know that reverse splits can make explosive moves. 2, I like that it's made this move already and it's retraced and then it's done its split. 3, it's got these lows here to risk off and you can see it held that low perfectly. 4 is that splits in this price range had been moving. And sort of all of those things put together helped me to build conviction. I don't like swinging splits, but this just ticked so many boxes that I thought, okay, this is worth a shot. So I started in, after I saw it held this low here, I started on this day about 325-ish. Now, for some reason, I decided to risk off 3. Thinking, well, it should risk a higher, you keep a higher low. That's completely wrong. My thesis is intact, sort of as long as this low holds. Now, that is a little bit further away than I would normally like. And I don't like swinging splits, so I sized in so small on this trade. It was like $350, roughly $400 that I sized in, which is nothing for my account. But when it had this flush, I ended up cutting for a loss and it ended up holding this and then grinding back. And even at that point, I could see, I can feel, I knew intuitively this is going to run. But, you know, I'd taken a loss and I didn't want to chase it up here. And so, you know, yesterday when I seen it run without me, I kind of just, what did I do? I don't even know how I felt. I think I just laughed a bit and just sort of went back to looking at the chart and thinking, come on, man, like you've really got to set your risk level appropriate and use lines if you need to, so you know what you're doing as a visual reminder and sort of trade according to your plan. But this is an explosive 200% move-ish from my entry. And yeah, I kind of just had to watch it do that without me. So it is what it is. There is no trade there for me now. It's sort of just on to the next one. Okay, cool. So the next ticker to go over is TJT. Now this is Trump stock. And if we start by the daily chart, anybody who's been trading a long time will remember this as DWAC, as it made this crazy, that was the ticker before, it made this crazy explosive move and then had this, a lot of sort of people sort of made and lost money a lot on this move. But yeah, obviously recently in regards to the election, it had this big run up and I missed that. But over the course of sort of a month, it moved sort of 400%. And then over the course of 1, 2, 3 days, it retraced sort of 45%-ish. So at that point, and this is still before the election, don't forget, I'm looking for a first green day, not only because of the chart, but also because my thesis here was I want to hold this into the election. That was my thesis. I'm not a big fan of, you know, holding into news. I think this is probably the only time that was my plan to do that, simply because I had a lot of, it just seemed really obvious to me that Trump was going to win the election. Now, that's not to say that I'm a big sort of believer, I guess, in politics in general. It's never really been my thing. I've always been of the opinion that we as individuals are responsible for the change we want to see, not somebody or anybody who is perceived to be above us. That being said, I'm a trader, and my job is to understand, I guess, how world events are perceived and act accordingly in regards to the markets. So that's what I was doing here, and my thesis was built around that. So this day here on the 4th of November was 2 days before the results were announced, and it correlated with the first green day. So if we go to the 10-minute chart, the 4th of November is here. So we can see it's had this huge run up, huge retracement. And then on this day here, I noticed that it double bottomed around 28, and I got in at 28.5. So really, really great entry. But my risk is 28, but I sold a piece here. And when it came back, I started panicking and thinking, oh no, I can't be bothered to swing it. All these negative thoughts. A bit, not only negative, I don't want to be too harsh, it was just kind of too relaxed trading, like, oh, no conviction, no belief, even though my thesis was correct. And so I just cut the rest at 29 and then had to watch it over the next few days move without me. So on this trade as well, I did take size that would, I was comfortable swinging with, but because this is a little bit of a slow mover in comparison to small cap land, I sort of just got bored out. But when I saw it up here, I was like, I would have made $1,000. That would have been a great win for me. But when I could see it moving like this, it didn't inspire me enough. The profit wasn't enough. So I sort of lost track on sort of, what my end goal was and what my end return would be. So like I say, on this one, sort of bored out. I still made money on it, but nothing really in comparison to what I should have made. So that's the second ticker. The third ticker, let's have a look, would be MNHI. Okay, so this is actually moving this morning, we can see. And let's start with the daily chart as always. Oh, sorry. Here we go. So it looks like a SPAC originally, doesn't it? But yeah, here we are down here. So it made this explosive move on day one. Now, this move is a bottom bouncer. That's what would be classified as, sort of a bounce off 10 cents. Now there are sort of NASDAQ regulations, which means you have to hold 10 cents, which is why we see a lot of these stocks bounce off 10. Now, and it was the current theme of bottom bounces from a macro point of view, meaning that other tickers were doing this as well. Now, when it had this explosive move, which I missed, and then sort of had this big retracement, I'm not massively interested in this as a first green day, to be honest with you, because it's too sort of weak. As a day one, as a front side move, it's too weak to really take my interest. That being said, it was just the kind of theme that these sort of were bouncing, and so I did sort of make an exception to that and decided to trade it. Now, how I traded this, you can see this line I had on here. I decided for some reason to set my risk at 9.5. Okay, on which day was it? On 9.5, day 3. I looked for a possible day 3 surge, and so when it sort of dipped below this level, below this line here, and then sort of chopped around it. So I'm risking off that. The reason why I decided to risk it, and the reason why it's the wrong risk level, sorry, I'm stuttering a bit because I'm trying to think back to how I was trading this. I just decided to use these lows here, and this, because it held after hours and pre-market, I decided to use this level, and so I sort of got in around here and then sort of just got chopped up, and I thought, it came down. I can't exactly remember how I traded this, to be honest, but it was on this day and I did take a loss. But really, the key here is that this risk level is not appropriate. The correct risk level is here, okay, down to this low of day. And we can see yesterday that what happened is it tried to break that low, but it couldn't, and it came back and reclaimed it, tried to break it again, it came back and broke it. So that's the signal that this the bottom is in, possibly, likely, and there is a possible bounce coming. So it's okay that I wanted to use these lows, because they could have held, and this could have set up for a third day surge / bounce. It's not really a third day surge given that it's retraced its move as much as that, but yeah, more of a bounce play. So that could have held, and that was my thesis, but I have to recognize that it's okay that I cut, because this is quite far away from my entry here. It's almost 15%, so it's okay that I cut. But yeah, I have to sort of keep that on watch, given that that is the ultimate risk level, and my thesis still can be intact if that risk level holds, which it did. One of the reasons why I sort of just gave up on this was because it was such a weak day one. So I started to forget that my original thesis was that these are bouncing at the minute, and this is sort of a huge retracement back to below 10 cents, where it can have a move again. So missed sort of a 90% move or something on that. So that's MNHI. So again, from this one, this comes down to not setting risk level correctly. Next one, TVGN. They're just all saying we've just been shaken out, not setting risk correctly. So this one was alerted by various people in Roland Wolf's chat room, given that it had made this explosive move and then a huge retracement back to sort of where the move started from ish, and also the whole round number of 1. How you get shaken out on this one, I don't really know, but I did. So let's look at the 10-minute chart first. So we can see this big explosive move over the course of multiple days. So it's a strong stock, big retracement back to this level here, where it does sort of have some support. And also, let's have a look. We can see here from the visible range volume profile that the support here, there's a lot of shares been traded in this zone, and it's got the psychological number of 1. So I kind of, FOMO got me a bit on this one, and so I kind of, when I saw it going green sort of pre-market, I didn't know really what to risk off on this level. I was thinking I'm going to risk off this low from the previous lower day, but then $1 was here, so do I risk off that? Or these $1 hold plays can sort of break $1 and sort of like hold 90, so do I risk off 90? I was struggling to set my risk appropriately, and I was also struggling with FOMO because I thought it might just hold green and bounce. So really, I should have, I really decided to, at the end of the day, use this 103 level. But when I entered and saw it pull in, I ended up sort of cutting a bit early, and then adding here when I thought it was going to hold this low, and then when it dropped below it, ended up cutting, and then ended up adding when I saw some, and then it cut in. I was just getting completely chopped up, and I ended up just giving up on it. This was a really poor trade. Not setting my, didn't know what to risk off, really. I didn't know what to risk off, and I still really don't, to be honest. But I think that the key here is that, yeah, it did break this previous lower day here and here, but then it reclaimed it, and it couldn't really break down. It tried to break down again, it couldn't. So once this low was in, I could have risked off that, but at that point I was kind of just chopped up, and I didn't see. Sometimes when these stocks are not moving, it's hard to visualize that the volume's going to come in and it's going to do what you want it to do, and that was the case both on TVGN. So probably I would have been all out here in the 140s. I wouldn't have held for all of that. I know some people, like particularly Tanner in the Roland Wolf chat room, are still in this, so amazing patience, and he was the one that actually alerted this trade in the chat room. So big up to Tanner as well for that. So yeah, so like I say, TVGN, I was struggling to see the volume coming in, and so was MA. I struggled to see this just because the volume was so low at this point. So that's that one. The other one is GNS. So this was yesterday. You can see I've still got my line on it. So GNS, if we start from the daily chart, the reason that I thought this might make a quite explosive move is it's just a ticker that sort of I recognize, and other people will recognize. It has made these sort of like explosive moves in the past, and I know other people are going to be aware of that. And so this one's of volume this one has more volume as opposed to this. So this is the sort of move that interests me more, and it has done it, here as well. So it is capable. It has done a recent split, so the float's going to be lower. So yeah, it was just something that was sort of like stood out to me as, this one is capable. So it wasn't really anything more than that, other than sort of experienced seeing this ticker. So I sort of recognized pre-market that it made this move, but I don't kind of beat myself up about this one at all, because on this occasion what it's done is it's made this move, but it's given back all of its gains and more. And so at this point, are there shorts left in it? No, they're probably, I'm sure they would have covered by now. So yeah, I don't like it when it's given back all of its gains. So I took it off my watch. I thought it might hold this level pre-market. I don't mind that I took it, just because it is good risk reward, and we do see these tickers run quite explosively when they do sort of open near pre-market lows, having made a morning spike. So like I say, I don't mind that I took this at all. I just cut it straight away and then stopped watching it, and didn't see it. I probably would have taken it here. Would I? It's hindsight trading, I don't know. For me, this wouldn't have been a bad entry at all. I wouldn't have taken it down here near lower day, just because I think at this point the ticker's red. Do you know what I mean? But when I can see it sort of reclaiming and sort of low volatility consolidation candles, that's sort of perhaps an area that I may have considered. But yeah. So that is the fourth ticker, and the final ticker, if I can remember it, is, let me just check. Okay. Is that all of them? Oh no, there's one more, MNHI. No, I've told you about that one. Have I done them all? Have I done them all? Is that 5? I've done them all. I've done NA, TVGN, I've done DJT, I've done MNHI, I've done, and GNS. Yeah, that's actually all of them. All right, cool. All right, guys. Thank you very, very much for watching. So moving forward, obviously my plan is to just make sure I am setting that risk level appropriately, because I'm getting shaken out when not setting the correct risk level. One thing is not sticking to my plan, which I've done on GJT, but the rest of them, my risk level hasn't really been solid and set in stone. Even though I've sized in according to what that correct risk level is, I haven't really had conviction in that risk level, and at times, like I say, I've been shaken out from not setting the right one. So that is my plan moving forward, and yeah, cool. All right, thank you very, very, very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.